Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. A major economic development project could potentially be on its way to the Starkville-Oktibbeha County communities. Tonight, a special meeting was held to discuss that project. Our Quentin Smith, he was at the meeting tonight. Quentin, do we know what this potential project is going to be?
Well, Scott, right now we really don't know because the city and the county aren't releasing much about this project because everything is still in the works. But here's what we do know. During a special call meeting tonight, the Starkville Board of Aldermen, Oktibbeha County Board of Supervisors, and the Economic Development Authority heard a presentation from the link. Now, once the meeting started, things quickly went into executive session. That executive session lasted for nearly 2 hours. During the meeting, there was action taken, but county leaders say they can't comment on it right now because it was not a complete action. A Starkville alderman was participating in the meeting by being on a conference call. Well, that call dropped and the board didn't have enough members to form a quorum, which led to the meeting being adjourned without anything being approved.
We will be revisiting it. I may call a special call meeting. Unfortunately, part of the difficulty is that this is summertime and we have a lot of people who are out of town, so I'm going to have to be very deliberate in trying to see if I can get a quorum again. That was part of the problem for tonight.
In these particular situations, there are certain responsibilities from each board. And as far as the county is concerned, our responsibility is not as complex as the city, and OCEDA's responsibility is not as complex as the city and the county. And so therefore, there's a lot of moving parts, in this position and also in this situation. And we're hopefully that we'll clear up any type of concerns, and soon we'll all be able to be on the same page to where we can make an announcement that we all will be in agreement of, and it will be something very beneficial and something that's great for our county and our city.
Now, Oktibbeha County Board of Supervisors President Orlando Traynor says tonight one board took action, 2 others didn't. He says all 3 boards must agree on this issue before the project can be approved. But again, city and county leaders say they plan to call another meeting and revisit this topic in the near future. Now, of course, we're going to continue to follow this developing story and bring you more details as they become available. But for now, reporting live in Starkville, Quentin Smith, WCBI News.
All right, Quentin, thank you very much. Well, we're just under 3 weeks away from the primary elections. Candidates, they're working to visit with folks, trying to get their vote. And tonight, several candidates running for local offices, they were doing just that in Caledonia. Our Tyler Hull, he was there. He joins us in the studio now. Tyler, how many people were there tonight?
Scott, dozens of folks came out for one goal. They wanted to speak with and hear from those vying for a spot in office. With elections just around the corner, the town of Caledonia held a forum giving candidates a chance to hear from the people. Mayor Mitch Wiggins says he's happy to be able to let the people's voices be heard.
It's very good. They get to hear the candidates, face to face. They also have opportunities to submit their own questions in a town hall style format.
Each candidate had 3 minutes to talk about why they're running and the issues they want to tackle. Walt Willis says he just wants somebody who will be like honest Abe Lincoln.
Well, we want candidates that will serve the people in an honest way.
Others, like Don Keltner, showed up in hopes of making a decision on who to vote for come August 6th.
It's a way of hearing where they stand on different positions, help me make up my mind which one I'm going to vote for.
The primary elections are on August 6th, everyone. Let's go get ready to vote.
Hard to believe that time again already. Thank you very much, Tyler. Well, time now to toss things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson to grab a first look at our forecast. Hey there, Keith.
Scott, weather cooperating for down on Main in downtown Tupelo this evening. Look at all the folks gathered there. No rain there. We have seen some isolated showers and thunder showers here this evening. Those have all gone away. Just the debris clouds left over here in the region. It's still a warm and steamy night, upper 70s and low 80s, 82 still in Tupelo. Lows tonight down to about 74, partly cloudy, warm and muggy with calm wind in most spots here. Tomorrow, 94, hot and humid, a chance for a few more of those pop-up showers and storms, primarily during the afternoon and evening. Your weekend forecast, Scott, in just a few more minutes.
A Carroll County man is busted for making moonshine, and he's a repeat offender. 68-year-old Jimmy Alexander was arrested at his Vaden home this morning by alcohol beverage control agents with the assistance from the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. Courtney Jackson takes us inside his operation.
The ABC believes the guy that was making moonshine in this still had been doing it for decades. In fact, the head of the ABC ran across this same guy for the same thing, making moonshine back in the late 80s.
I had dealings with this guy and some more people making whiskey in 1986. So, I mean, he's been in the same area, approximately half a mile down the road from here.
When Chief of Enforcement Rusty Hanna says dealings, he's referring to Jimmy Alexander and 2 others offering him bribes in exchange for protection and facing additional charges back then. So how has he flown under the radar all these years?
He does not sell locally, which is part of the reason why he's not been caught in over 30 years. I think he transports the majority of his product somewhere outside of Carroll County just to avoid detection.
Their 3-month investigation indicates he was selling the shine for about $30 a gallon. He had an 8-barrel setup with the fermented rye mash ready for the cooker.
He's got propane burners underneath, which he will cook. The alcohol vapor will evaporate off, come up through the copper tube, and then work its way over into this is called the worm. It's a coil of copper tube in the cold water that condenses the alcohol vapor back down to a liquid, and then that comes out as a finished product.
Aside from being illegal, there are serious health concerns tied to moonshine making.
If somebody does not know what they're doing, that first little bit that comes off, methanol, is poisonous and can kill you.
Courtney Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
A North Mississippi man pleads guilty to a federal charge that he tried to produce child pornography after officials say he recorded girls changing in a locker room. Micah McKay Wilbanks of Corinth pleaded guilty today to 1 count of attempted possession of child pornography. Authorities say a student found Wilbanks' cell phone hidden in a locker room at Kossuth Middle School in May of 2018. Wilbanks will be sentenced later this year. If you've downloaded an app, you've seen it. The terms of service paragraphs of what looks like legalese. Most people don't take the time to read them, or they see them as a price for using the service. But what are you signing away when you hit accept? Our Riley Livingston talks with cyber experts to give us a better idea.
It is the latest app to take social media by storm. FaceApp lets users transform their photos into an older or younger version of themselves. But concerns are rising about what you are signing away and who else may be using those photos.
Yeah, so the terms and agreements can specify a number of different things, and it's really, company specific. But the problem that you run into is a lot of people don't actually read them, and you just blindly hit yes, and that's either because they're long and the users don't want to, or they just everyone else is using it and they want to use it too. So yeah, just whatever, fine, okay.
What could you be sharing when using social media? It could be your location, data from your phone, or access to your photos.
Sometimes an assumption of privacy that just doesn't exist. I think that's the concern that we need to look at, is lack of privacy.
That privacy becomes a bigger concern when you post a photo. Thanks to that accept button, many social media apps, including FaceApp, can use it as their own.
We've seen this verbiage used in a few other more famous social media apps as well. And I think the way we've kind of seen that played out is that the social media, they own certain rights to it, like they're allowed to use it for their promotional purposes without necessarily having to compensate you or the person who produced it.
And even though you may not remember that unflattering post or bad review, Drew Hamilton says companies can store your post and personal information, and that can cause more issues.
People are getting tired of hearing how many companies have been hacked, whether it's large corporations, stores, or whatever. So anything you post on the internet may wind up being compromised because the company that has that information may be penetrated by someone else.
He wants to remind people that what you post on the internet is forever.
I would not post anything on the internet that I would not want to see on the front page of the New York Times.
Or on television. Geralt says he doesn't want to scare people away from social media, just encourage them to do their research and learn to protect themselves.
A nice little rainbow spotted in Vernon, or in the Vernon area earlier this afternoon. Not too shabby. And also a great sunset in Starkville this evening. Some of that color with the setting sun. Some spooky looking clouds in Caledonia with one of those rope showers this evening. Your full forecast is next.
WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Well, it's always nice to see a few rainbows with some of these afternoon showers during the summertime, and there's one right there in East Columbus, spotted earlier today. Thanks for that great photo. Wonderful sunset here in West Alabama in Lamar County yet again. And notice how colorful the sky was with all of the clouds around, the rain falling, those isolated thunder showers right there. That was another one of those views from Caledonia earlier. This is our time lapse, our Alpha Insurance Camera Network. You can see from downtown Columbus some of those showers just fading away here as the sun went down after 8 o'clock. And in Vernon, much the same story today. We started out with a nice downpour right there, and as that thing moved off to the east, it weakened, and that was the story of the day. Now, we did see some downpours earlier in Louisville. More famine than feast here today as far as the rainfall is concerned. Another bullseye in Clay County, also in northern Lowndes County, and a few other blips over here in the West Alabama. Some heavier rain in north central Alabama as well. So once we lose the sun, a lot of this goes away. And what's left over is this high cloudiness that is actually drifting back to the west right now with the upper level airflow pattern back to the west. And we will flare more activity up tomorrow, and it will tend to drift back to the west. So our rain chances will tend to go up a little bit because there's actually a little disturbance over here along the east coast, and we'll see a few more storms in Alabama and Georgia tomorrow. Some of that will sneak into eastern Mississippi, so that's why we do have a 30% chance of rain tomorrow. A 50% chance of pop-up showers and storms on Saturday and Sunday as that disturbance gets a little bit closer to us. We still have the heat advisory for the northern part of the area, but all areas may see that heat index approach 105 tomorrow. Partly cloudy, warm and muggy tonight, down into the mid-70s. Tomorrow, 7 a.m., 77, 91 at noon. The heat index already into the triple digits by noon. 94 the forecast high, and most likely from noon onward, we'll have a chance for some of those pop-up showers and storms that will tend to fade away as we get into the evening hours, much like today. Your forecast across our region generally lower to middle 90s. The heat index into the triple digits. Winds from the southwest 5 to 10 hopefully can stir things up just enough to give you a little bit of relief if you can get into some shade, but that sun's pretty powerful. You want to stay indoors if you can and stay out of that sun if you can. So warm tomorrow, around 90 for Saturday and Sunday. There's that 50% chance of rain. Random showers and storms. We don't know exactly where they're going to be until they form. So hope for the best here if you have outdoor plans. Monday and Tuesday, there may be a cold front coming our way, elevated rain chances, and then a chance for some lower humidity by Wednesday and Thursday. More of the show after the break.
Watching WCBI News at 10 with Scott Martin.
Welcome back, everyone. Too much sun can be dangerous, especially for young children. We'll learn how you can protect them from the sun's harmful rays in our Health Talk with Baptist.
How much sun is safe for your child? Here are some ways to keep your child safe from the harmful effects of the sun. Infants should avoid direct and indirect sunlight. Indirect sunlight increases the risk of heat stroke. Keep your infant in the shade. Use lightweight cotton clothing that covers arms and legs. Use a wide brim hat to limit sun exposure to the face. Apply at least SPF 15 sunscreen on your baby 6 months and older. Sunscreen should be applied 30 minutes prior to sun exposure. In older children, SPF 15 or greater should be applied every 2 hours after swimming and after sweating. Use a wide brim hat. Use sunglasses that provide 97 to 100% UVA and UVB protection. Limit exposure to the sun during hours of peak intensity, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. If your child develops heat illness, move your child away from the sun to a cool, comfortable place. Give plenty of cool liquids and remove any excess clothing. For a baby under 1 year of age, sunburn should be treated as an emergency. Call your doctor immediately. For a child 1 year or older, call your doctor if there is severe pain, blistering, lethargy, or fever over 101 degrees. Join us next time for Health Talk with Baptist.
Mail your topic suggestions to healthtalk@wcbi.com. Health Talk has been brought to you by Baptist Memorial Hospital Golden Triangle.
Lamar County is next on our high school football tour. More on how the Bulldogs look heading into next season. Chris has that right after the break.
Sports on WCBI.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Chris Bolton. For our 25th stop on the high school football tour, we check in with Lamar County. The Bulldogs and Vernon return this season as confident and driven as ever, even with the much younger squad.
WCBI's 60 Schools in 60 Days is brought to you by Sparklight.
Although a new season presents a new team for Lamar County football, the expectation always remains the same.
Be a state championship caliber program, so we tell them it doesn't matter to us if we're in 2A or 3A or who's out there. You know, the same formula for winning is the same every year.
The Bulldogs are used to having an experienced senior class on their side, but this season will be different. While some teams may look at being younger as a disadvantage, the guys in Vernon don't think that way.
We lost a lot of leaders and everything, and people expect us to be underdogs, but we're confident in ourselves. We know that we just stick together and do the things we need to do, we'll be successful.
We really tried to set a standard for these young kids to follow, so we hope that when we leave here, they have something to go by.
We just got to tell them to work hard and stuff, because they'll be leading the team next year.
This community demands that these kids play hard, that they have to play with, they got to have great work ethic, they got to, play with discipline and toughness.
For the Bulldogs, saying that they want to win a state championship is one thing. What they strive for is becoming a state championship caliber team.
We want to be one of the teams that's fighting for it year in and year out. Talent graduates, but the recipe for success is the same every year, and that's, that consistency is what we're trying to build here in Lamar County.
We just want to show people that we're not going to quit, no matter what.
You got to go out there and hit somebody, make a play, do something, get the tone started. And once you get one good thing, other good things usually follow.
The Bulldogs are preparing for every practice and every game, not solely focusing on securing wins, but improving each and every day.
We just want to be as good as we can be. We don't want to play to anybody else's standards but ours, and we just want to be as good as we can be.
Every practice, we want to be better when we leave than when we get there, and same thing with every game. Of course, we're gonna do everything we can to be, on the right side of the scoreboard. But at the end of the game, we look back, we want to continue to get better and better, and usually the teams that do that are the teams that are playing in the playoffs at the end.
The season begins in Vernon with a matchup to South Lamar on August 23rd. With the Bulldogs on the high school football tour, Courtney Robb, WCBI Sports.
60 Schools in 60 Days with Lamar County High School was brought to you by Shop and Save, Vernon Dental Clinic, and Alpha Agent Alicia Clark.
As we near the weekend, we are almost another Saturday closer to college football. Both Ole Miss and Mississippi State being recognized for excellence through the nomination of 2 running backs. The Doak Walker Award watch list names both Mississippi State's Kylan Hill and Ole Miss Scotty Phillips as candidates for the nation's top back. In his outing as a sophomore, Hill rushed for 734 yards and averaged 6.3 yards per carry, scoring 4 touchdowns. Phillips ran for 928 yards for 12 TDs, averaging 6.1 yards per carry. Now, at SEC Media Days, Joe Moorhead gave a preview of what to expect from Kylan Hill this season.
His weight's down a little bit. Coach Boucher and his staff are doing a great job with him and the rest of our guys in the weight room, and I think he's entering this season more mature with a higher level of confidence, and he stays healthy. We're expecting a breakout year from Kylan.
Off the season on August 31st. Northeast looks to take its defense to another level as the school announced today the hire of Jake Landell, making him the new defensive line coach. He returns after taking a 2-year hiatus as NEMCC's D-line coach. Landell brings to the table nearly a decade of experience. Also, 2 of Landell's former linemen are on active NFL rosters. Well, that's all we have for sports. We'll have a last look at your forecast coming up after the break.
7-day forecast. We do have some 90s in play again for tomorrow. A chance for some of those pop-up showers and storms. Not as hot Saturday or Sunday, Scott, but still some storms around. Still plenty of humidity through Monday. And then maybe a bit of a break for the middle of next week with some slightly cooler temperatures. We are actually averaging 93 for the current average. So if we can only be in the 80s next week, that'd be a plus.
So a brief cool down, if that's what you want to call it. I don't know if we can kind of call it that.
A little cool down before we get into the dog days of summer,
dog days of summer.
Coming up in just a week or so.
Goodness. All right. Thanks, Steve. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.